let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you guys all to the Mid Pecha Kucha for Mini Seed Grant. So you guys are all part of the team or the PI of a grant that was awarded a mini seed grant for this fiscal year. And so we just like to check in and kind of see where you are, maybe if you've run into some issues that maybe we can help you with, or somebody else on one of the other teams can help you with. Sometimes that has happened. So that's really the point of this. We will take your slides that you sent to me and we will put them on your Dylan, not we. I don't know how to do that. Dylan will put those on your grant page that is part of the ICAP page. So those will show up on there after we're done here. And then we keep this Pecha Kucha, and I will let you guys. I am going to put Tom on the spot, but he's pretty good at pitch hitting. So Tom, if you want to tell him kind of why we use that, and I think probably everybody knows who you are, but go ahead and take it from there.
Yes, Melissa, you totally did throw me under the bus because I am debugging hardware for tonight at the torpedo factory. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Tom Martin. I'm the interim co-executive director of ICAT, along with Lisa McNair, who couldn't be here right now. We use these Pecha Kuchas as a way to sort of get a mid-project report from you about the progress you've made so far. And then we also use the slides to help justify the existence of ICAT and the teams that we support. So we're one of the 4 investment institutes on campus. We're given funding from the Office of Research and Innovation, and we're supposed to use that to support preliminary work from students and faculty. And these Pecha Kucha slides are a way for us to help pitch those bigger ideas to the administration. Melissa, was there anything important from that I left out?
Nope, I think that covers it. I just wanted everybody to see
Yep.
your face, and if anybody didn't know, you have that opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, so the way this is going to work, most of you already know this, I'm going to share my screen, and I've put them in just kind of a random order. And I have a title page before your project starts. And so when you see your project come up, you'll know to unmute yourself and go ahead and share your project. 3 slides per team, should be about a minute per slide. So we want, like a 3 to 4 minute presentation. And then at the very end, we will open it up for questions. If somebody has a question about your project, or if you have a question about somebody else's project, or if you want to say, hey, we need help with this. Does anybody know anybody? So we'll go from there. And I combine them all at the time when I combine them. I think all of your embedded videos and sound was working. I had Dylan look at it and he thought so too. But if something happens, we'll figure it out as we go. So let me share my screen. Can you guys all see that?
Yep.
All right. Wait, I got to get back to where I can see you guys. There. It switched screens on me. Okay. So we've already welcomed this, and our first one is going to be dark matter embodied.
Okay.
All right. So you can tell me when to advance to the next slide, or if you need to go back, or whatever you need. Just
Sure.
let me know.
That's perfect. So, hello everybody. My name is Dustin Dennis, and I am a visual artist and a faculty member in the School of Visual Arts. And today I'm going to be representing the co-principal investigator for our project, Ian Shoemaker. Ian is a theoretical particle physicist from the Department of Physics. I'm going to discuss our project Dark Matter Embodied, a virtual encounter into the unseen universe. Dark matter composes most of the matter in our universe, yet it remains invisible. Our goal is to explore how immersive virtual reality tools can help shift understanding of dark matter through a new kind of experience. Our aim is to help audiences intuitively understand and explore dark matter in a new way. And Melissa, if you'd please advance to the next slide. Okay, thank you. A key component of our experience is the bullet cluster, one of the strongest pieces of evidence for dark matter. The bullet cluster 1E0657-56 shows the collision of two galaxy clusters. From analyzing this system in optical light and X-rays, astronomers have determined that most of the mass is invisible. This material is referred to as dark matter, and there's a lot of it. Dark matter's existence is confirmed in several other ways, but this system is fairly simple and is inferred by gravitational lensing. The hot gas, represented here in pink, is an important part of baryonic matter. It's slowed down during the collision, but does not slow down the dark matter. This allows for this lensing effect to be observed. We hope to use the bullet cluster system as a pedagogical tool for conveying what's known about dark matter. And if you would please advance to the next slide. Participants of our dark matter embodied program will don a high fidelity VR headset and step into the cosmic phenomena, where they'll be able to explore 3D animated models and diagrams, all while theoretical particle physicist Ian Shoemaker explains aspects of dark matter via a 360-degree narrated audio lesson. In this third slide, you can see an early digital 3D animated prototype to visualize cosmic web structure that will be used to simulate the dark matter influence in our program. Thus far, Ian and I have created a 10-minute script and are preparing to record the narration. We've also generated 3D digital assets and are experimenting with them in Unreal Engine using the VR setup. Challenges that we're currently in the process of resolving are how to represent the gravitational lensing effect that will be both visually communicatable and engaging for our participants. This project combines visual arts and physics. It uses high-resolution imagery to create visualizations along with immersive audio for the goal of communicating complex scientific concepts through an accessible and compelling experience. And with that, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dustin. And I know that you guys probably have great questions to ask, but we're going to go on to the next presentation and then we can come back and ask questions. So the next one is AI ethics and policy through applied theater.
All right, thank you so much, Melissa. Hi, everybody. My name is John Catherwood Ginn. I teach in the School of Performing Arts, Applied Theater, and I serve as a co-director of research in the Center for Communicating Science. And I'm presenting today on behalf of my collaborator, Hoda Eldardiri, who's here today. She's from the Department of Computer Science, where she's an associate professor, and is also the director of the Machine Learning Laboratory at Tech. Melissa, would you be willing to advance to the first slide, please? Thank you much. First of all, thank you so much to ICAT for your willingness to support this project. The origin of this project is, so my background is, I focus in my research and as an artist in this sort of intersection between applied theater and governance. That is how we make decisions together. And looking about 3 years ago, you might recall there was an open letter written by some prominent technologists and signed by over 34,000 people calling for a pause in AI development and deployment out of concerns of a variety of potential consequences. I was intrigued by this and wanted to learn a little bit more about how AI ethics was being explored within the world of people working on those types of things. So I reached out to Hoda. I had heard great things about her own work in AI ethics education. She graciously invited me to observe some of her classes where she and then master's student James Weichert had developed an AI ethics and policy module for computer science students. And I was really intrigued by what I saw, and Hoda was open to the prospect of us collaborating to see how might applied theater, which is a whole set of techniques that are particularly effective at unpacking what sometimes might be fraught or complicated subjects, how that might contribute to computer science students' education on this really timely subject. Next slide, please. Please keep going. It's got a couple of animations. Thank you. So our project research questions are, first of all, how might applied theater address this issue of AI ethics and policy? And secondarily, how could computer science students specifically benefit from these methodologies, recognizing that they're going to be moving into the AI workforce pretty quickly? Next slide, please. So some of the objectives of our project are to help sort of sensitize computer science students to the values that are embedded in certain AI design choices, to help them recognize their own agency and capacity to engage in respectful dialogue on this subject. And then I think most importantly, to help them sort of envision what the potential ethical implications would be of certain design choices. Next slide, please. So what we've done so far, what this project will be is 4 workshops, 3 hours apiece, that are taking place between February and March, where we're going to do a host of different applied theater methods, things like storytelling and improv theater, image theater, all focus on this question of AI ethics and policy, centered on 6 principles of AI ethics. Those are non-maleficence, trustworthiness, autonomy, privacy, transparency, equity, and justice. What we've accomplished so far are the IRB has approved our revised protocol. Hoda and I have developed the curriculum. We've been marketing and recruiting, and we're at a really exciting moment where next week will be our first of these 4 sessions next Friday. So there'll be intake surveys, qualitative interviews with participants in the program, and of course then data analysis and write-up. And so far, there aren't any problems that we've encountered with the project, other than, of course, always an eagerness to want to recruit folks for participation. So if there are people you know who you think might want to be involved, please feel free to extend this invitation. We'd love to be able to engage as many people as possible who want to be a part of this. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, John. So next we have the Indigenous Data Sovereignty Group.
Hello, hi, I'm Nipun Galante. I'm presenting on behalf of our advisors, Dr. Toy and Dr. Aranga, who could not make it to the meeting today. Situni would also help me with the presentation. Can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So our current project is basically the current LLM development follows a Western-centric model that treats data as a raw resource to be extracted for profit. For indigenous communities, this results in digital colonialism, where the sacred or private knowledge is scraped into data sets, often leading to cultural erasure or misinterpretation. Our goal through this study isn't just to talk about ethics in abstract, but to move towards practical application. We want to integrate indigenous governance principles like community control and collective consent into the actual data pipelines of AI. So under this grant, we are producing a systematic review to map these issues and a research agenda brief that will serve as the roadmap for future fieldwork with indigenous communities. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the work done till now is basically we have conducted a preliminary literature review and a review of current work of such as Birane and Zasco confirms that algorithmic bias um, is a byproduct of extractive practices that mirror historical colonialism. A key finding in our progress is the tension between data standards. The tech industry uses FAIR principles, that is findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, which focuses on making data easy for machines to read. We are advocating for the CARE and OCAP frameworks, which focuses on making data use responsible to the humans who own it. So we are looking at concepts like relational accountability. Instead of AI being a consumer of knowledge, we are exploring how it can become a long-term steward of that knowledge through proper protocols. Next slide, please. Challenges would be covered by Situni.
Thank you, Nipun. Hi, everyone. So I'm Sitani. So since we are doing a systematic literature review, we have come up with 5 challenges. The first one is limited interdisciplinary overlap. because AI and LLM research is mainly technical and rarely includes indigenous perspectives. So it will make relevant, like making relevant literature too hard to find. And the other one we will face is the language barrier because non-English research and indigenous language research is underrepresented in academia. So it will lead to a potential bias in Western bias in literature search. And another challenge will be the fragmented databases because AI research and indigenous studies are stored in separate databases as separate domains. So it will be kind of difficult to identify suitable databases for us when doing the systematic literature review. And the other one is the risk of misinterpretation because the data that we collect are secondary data, not from the directly from the communities as primary data. So relying on secondary sources without community involvement can misrepresent the indigenous knowledge. And the last one is structural and legal barriers because AI and LLM training systems do not legally require indigenous consent or attribution or benefit sharing. So this will be enable extractive use of indigenous knowledge. So next one, please. So these are references. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. We'll move to the next project. Mood Cocoon, an
Yes.
immersive experience.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Shuang, and I'm assistant professor in graphic design together with Dusty in the School of Visual Arts. And this project is a collaboration with Dr. Boya Xu, who is assistant professor in marketing, and she serves as a research collaborator, contributing psychological and behavioral science expertise to inform sensory design decisions and leading development of evaluation methods to measure mood and emotion response toward colors. And myself, my research goes around immersive interactive design in exhibition, VR, AR settings, as well as cross-cultural design. And we had a conversation and decided to collaborate together on the idea of a immersive experience through art therapy and light healing. And then we also have two other collaborators, Ilya, who is a lighting designer as well as art therapist in New York, as well as another designer, Xinran, who is a UI UX website and app designer in New York as well. So Mood Cocoon is a immersive art and design project that applies principles of art therapy through interactive light, sound, motion, and touch to support emotional well-being. So the installation consists of three responsive cocoon-like environments that adapt to visitors' movements, creating personalized, calming sensory experiences grounded in psychological and art therapy and human-centered design. And could you go to the second slide? Thank you. So the first two are videos. I don't know if you can hit play. Thank you. And then the second one is also a video as well. Thanks. So for our exploration and spatial studies, during the exploration phase, we tested multiple spatial layouts and selected a modular cube frame wrapped with a continuous fabric surface. So this fabric gently divides the installation into three environments or cocoons, the void, the dream, and the warmth. So each defined by distinct textures, light qualities, and atmospheres. And we experimented with different lighting tools, fabric, and reflective materials to understand how light softness, diffusion, and color shape emotional experiences. So along this, we also explored tactile lighting elements, including stone-like glowing forms and cocoon-inspired soft carpeting, to study how light interacts with touch and the body in the space. And Melissa, could you go to the third slide? Thank you. So the first and then the last image are all videos as well. So we developed a scaled mini prototype based on the cube structure to explore form, proportion, and light behavior. And alongside this, a student design team that I formed also contribute to a digital extension of the experience through an interactive website inspired by installations, lightning design. And that will be under the guidance of the UI UX designer. And thank you, Gustavo, Tanner, and David for the help with interaction and space layout. So our current focus is refining how the lights could be interactive and how can we set it up and to have the lights respond to movement for a different cocoon. And also another challenge for me is to navigate collaboration across distance, especially when our key collaborators are based somewhere else. And these challenges are shaping the projects through ongoing experimentation, iteration, and remote collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great. Tanner, you're up for Southwest Virginia Sound Scenes.
It's a big title. Thanks, Melissa. My collaborators are Dr. Phyllis Newbill, who's here, and Dr. Mike Rosenzweig, who can't join us today. And I'm Tanner Upthegrove, immersive audio engineer. Melissa, please go to the title slide. Yes, so this project is all about this amazing place called the Nature Center, or in part of a bigger initiative at Virginia Tech, the Seek Education Explore Discover Center. Melissa, could you go to the next slide, please? And this place is incredible. So on the top left is where it currently is in Blacksburg. If you haven't been there, you should. I don't know, it might be closed now because the big news for us is this place is moving. But for context, the Price House, the top left image is where it was located. You go inside, and there's all kinds of cool stuff to learn more about nature in Southwest Virginia. There's live animals, there's taxidermy animals, microscopes, specimens of all kinds, a really neat AR sandbox table that's responsive. So all kinds of things to engage with and learn more about our region and the flora and fauna within it. So uh, some of you may know this. I've got two kids that are great, and this is their favorite place to go. They love going there. So we're going there all the time. And one thing that I noticed going there was maybe there could be another type of installation there to learn more about nature through sound. So, Melissa, could you go back one slide, please? I'm going to have you jump forward and back a couple times. So, the idea is to take a multi-channel audio system and install it at the Nature Center and present sounds from the region. So, here on the bottom left is a diagram of how that would work. We're going to install a computer that's a touchscreen uh, and have 13 loudspeakers in the new facility. We will go around the region and collect sounds, which I think will be the hardest part about this project. If we're looking for specific animals, that will be a challenge. And we'll capture them in 3D sound format called ambisonics and play them back so it can give a sense of realism, like you're actually there in directionality. Um, Go ahead again to the second, please, Melissa. We'll get to install the loudspeakers in the new facility in the bottom right, which is Bennett House. And this is in Wong Park. So Wong Park is in Blacksburg. Again, if you haven't been there, it's a lovely place. It's several acres with a walking trail and a community garden and a playground with Bennett House right in the middle. And inside there soon will be 13 loudspeakers. And the last slide, please, Melissa. So far, we have the sort of technology design complete. And we have received an in-kind donation of 3 of the 13 loudspeakers from Genelec. So thank you, Genelec, for donating some equipment to this project. And to do, we have to actually deploy the system. We need to go out in the springtime and capture field recordings of these animals and implement the software. And also thank Tanuga at ICAT for helping with this project. Finally, we will have some brief optional assessment options as part of the computer, which go back to a database for us so we can then see if this thing is working, if it's interesting. Should other places do something like this, which focus on sound? Thank you.
Thanks, Tanner. I've not been there. I need to go up there and check it out.
Unfortunately, I think the current Price House is closed, but in the spring, the new Bennett House version is going to be amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not going out in the snow anyway. So we're good for a while. All right. Last but not least, Martha, we have Vimbuza Healing Systems.
Yes, thank you. And Melissa, if my audio works, you might want to turn it down just a little bit so it doesn't surprise people. And I will like talk over it a little bit when we're ready, just to let you know.
I will do my best. I'm not the best driver, but
You're doing a great job, and don't say mean things to yourself. If you could go to the first slide, that'd be great. Hi, my name is Martha Sullivan. I'm in the School of Design, and I've been working with Ralph Hall in the School of Public and International Affairs to safeguard Indigenous knowledge and cultural heritage in Malawi, known as a Vimbuza Healing System. We are both faculty members on Team Malawi, and Melissa, you can forward to the next slide. Team Malawi is a multidisciplinary group that looks at technology, education, art, and medicine. In this group, I provide specialties in things like contextual research and visual communication. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's auto forwarding into the video. We take students there every year. That visual communication project has turned into visual communication for students in Malawi, and healthcare communications has branched into science, radio, creative writing, and music and dance. And that's what this project is about visiting the Rumpi district to look at a traditional healing process and to prepare people in that community to document the work for themselves, to be prepared perhaps to reach out to UNESCO for future projects. So this is some of the raw footage and samples we've taken over January. So we had 4 days in 2 different locations in southern Malawi. And in that time, had over 180 participants across the different healing ceremonies and 22 participants specifically in a professional development workshop where people were learning to use cameras, recorders, 360 cameras to try and capture some of these really important moments that are lost sometimes in oral traditions or through colonization. So the larger scope was to build better relations as Team Malawi launches technology in low resource areas such as drone, high-tech imagery, rapid screening. And me specifically for contextual research, I'm trying to add a patient and provider user journey for us to better understand women's healthcare in Malawi. This particular practice also gave me a deeper knowledge into how there is no separation of health and spirituality in this system. And so to treat health fully, you, as we do in many places, want to treat that whole person. And in this way, my partnership was with as African musicologists from the Malawi University of Science and Technology. I went there as a specialist in design research and documentation. So far we have a huge archive of data, and I'm looking to develop an exhibition. That's how this will close out for ICAT. So right now I'm navigating storytelling with the equipment we brought, the still image, moving image, sound, drone footage that we took, and how to get that into a compelling multimedia exhibit that can be shown both here and in Malawi. That might be the end of the video, so you can forward to the last slide in the set. I think one of the most exciting things for me is to help my very highly technical team of doctors and engineers and public health specialists see this beautiful bridge between what they're doing with high-tech science, maybe utilizing ultrasound, or specifically here on campus, we're a Center for Excellence in Focused Ultrasound. I would tell you that what is happening here, the healing that is happening with music and dance, and I've told you just a tiny bit about it today, is similar to, if you imagine ultrasound is out there shining, sending sound waves and seeing what reflects back to it, telling you what's in that space. I would say if you've ever done yoga or meditation, it is like that. The calmer you are, whatever you're putting out there and reflecting in the world, that comes back to you. Imagine that's the metaphor for ultrasound. So you look at focused ultrasound, what Team Malawi is doing to try and cure cancer. When these folks very specifically put music towards a person, a situation, or a community, they are looking for in their spirituality what reflects back to them and possibly using that sound to actually heal what's hurting them. And so I think it's a really, it's been inspirational to understand a larger part of the world. And it's been great to work with my partners there and potentially launch some really interesting professional development for people who believe very deeply in that their culture should continue. So thanks especially to Edward Nakata and Alexander Heldon Nasulu, who helped me capture this enormous data set, which belongs to the community. And we'll be with them, hopefully, for a long time to share their story to a larger audience. So thank you so much for the grant. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Martha, and thank you all the teams. We appreciate you taking the time to kind of tell us what you've been working on. It's one thing for us to be able to read it on paper and say, yeah, this sounds interesting and let's award it. And it's another for us to actually see you implementing the work and where that is going. And first of all, thank all of you for sending your slides. When I asked for them, that's incredible. You guys had them all bright and early this morning, so I had time to put them together. That's like a really big deal to me. So I appreciate it. So we want to open it up for questions, and this group is small enough, even with everybody online, to just unmute yourself, ask a question, direct it to whoever, whichever team you need to direct it to, and yeah, let's go from there.
I have a question.
Holly, you go first.
I have a question for, actually, it's for the Mood Cocoon team and the Dark Matter team. And if you don't know the answer yet, that is perfectly okay. But I was wondering when and where we might be able to experience these projects. Because I'm excited to experience them. That's why I'm asking. I can't wait to see them.
Dustin,
Shuang, would you like to go first?
Okay. Thank you so much for your support, Holly. So we had a discussion with Gustavo, and we're planning to have the experience in April somewhere, was like mid-April, early April, and then that will be in the Cube. So welcome to come.
Okay.
And we're probably gonna create some materials for promotion too.
Please share them with us when you have them. And I know Rodney and Dylan are both on here and would love to get their hands on them to help share them through the ICAT channels.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for the question, Holly. Well, our program is going, it's designed to be intimate. It houses two people at a time that experience this. So we could expect it at the end of April in an ICAP performance space. But it doesn't have to be a large space for this. So
Okay.
That's what our timeline is looking like.
Super cool. Thank you. Thank you both.
I had a question for Dustin. You mentioned there will be immersive audio in yours. What is driving that? Is that based on data, or is that something that you're creating? Can you talk about more about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the immersive audio, it's a two-part audio component, or two components. One will be Ian's narration. So Ian will be giving a talk about dark matter, but there is some artistic poetic licensing being applied to the sounds that you will also hear along with Ian's narration. So the core part is Ian communicating the dark matter lesson essentially, but with sound effects along with it. Does that make sense, Tanner?
Yeah, thank you.
I had a question, actually for John and for the Cocoon group. I was curious about are you gathering data on people's experiences, both in the AI kind of workshops, and then and maybe you mentioned this and I missed it, and I'm sorry if I did, but also their experience kind of in the Cocoon, to whether it's to kind of iteratively update or just get some kind of feedback for a next project.
Yes to all of that, at least for our project. So we're going to be doing the data we're collecting. We're doing an intake and an exit survey, namely to gauge people's familiarity with AI ethics and policy, attitudes, personal use. What are their personal connections to some of those broader questions? But also, we're going to be collecting data throughout the process. So using chart paper and inputs that people will actually be, prompts that they're going to be putting into, in this case, Microsoft Copilot, and sort of engaging in persona dialogues. We're collecting a variety of kind of sources of qualitative data. And the hope is that the insights from this project will inform what we're hoping will be like sort of an AI ethics and policy through a applied theater module that will be sort of more focused and could be rolled out in this case for like people who are working directly in the AI design and policy development space, be it lawmakers, technologists, what have you. Does that answer your question, Sarah?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, John. Nice to see you again.
Uh-huh. You too.
Thank you, Sarah, for the question. So for us, our initial goal was both having digital surveys as well as like physical. So we do have a student who are from the writing department who is going to develop like those little zines, design zines, or physical pocketbook for like the audience to take and write down their feedback for Mookakun. But I'm also planning to collaborate with another professor in the industrial design department to have audience to wear EEG, which is a device you can record or track emotions.
Yeah,
Or
that's
they're like,
exactly what I was thinking, like a
that's
heart
exactly
rate
what you're
device or
thinking.
an EEG or something. Yeah, yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, but like the timeline is pretty tight, so we're like, I'm still like in the planning phase now. But I would like to know if that lands. That would be great to see how to see like the data that it collects.
Gotcha. Very cool. Thanks. Thank you both.
Thank you. I have a question for Martha. Um, and I really like your project, and I wonder like how do you get connected with local communities and get support from like local organizations to conduct workshops and research like this?
Thanks for that great question. I think that that's probably one of the things I'm focusing on for Team Malawi. If you heard me mention the thing about the drone, so if I take drones there and we use drones to help take pictures of social events, when I'm ready to send drones in that can drop medicine, are they going to be more or less likely to accept what comes off of that drone? So my long-term goal is community engagement. And so it started with institutions. So finding a university partner on the ground has been really helpful for me. That gives me that, like compared to the musicology, that gives me the institutional knowledge, and especially with working in an indigenous community, it gives a voice of that community on my decision-making team. And then from that, it's been uh, I usually find at least one advocate in the community itself. So there's someone in the community who is fully aware of the project, 100% on board, and can advocate for me at a great distance. And then I need to triangulate that. I need that person to have one or two backups, so that when they have a problem and that they have someone else to reach out to besides just me. And then specifically here, with healthcare, there's a level of government. So they have traditional authorities and chiefs that are like regional governors. And asking permission down that particular line has been really important and mimics what we would have to do to have influence over young girls' health anyway. So we're kind of like practicing that chain of command over and over again. So I start with the university if it's a new area because they speak our language. And then from there, I try and develop an individual partnership. And through that individual partner, seek proper policy and public officials who we bring on board and try and build consensus with.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Martha, I just wanted to commend you that obviously those things take so much time and so much relationship and like very deliberate engagement, and it's just an incredibly thoughtful approach. And I mean, speaking, as a complete outsider to this, it sounds incredibly respectful, and I really admire that. I was curious if you had thought about like writing about that particular part of your experience, like a reflection kind of for yourself on really executing this like deep relationship driven work, not necessarily like, hey, we're just doing a thing and we're out.
Yeah, I think that probably is a space of scholarship for me because, like I said, I don't own the ideas about Bambusa. I don't want to own the data collection that stays with the community. But I'll tell you, it has been a thing, and I'm still like in it, like pretty deep in it. So all of the like skills that you practice for organizational management and for like personal management are so important and across cultures. Boy, I have to tell you, I really think through my statements now because I'll tell you, sarcasm does not translate across languages. I'll just let you know right now. Does not. And I don't like to use sarcasm even here against like with students and faculty. I don't think it's that funny. And so, you just have to be really careful with your language. And I'm actually taking inspiration from you all, from this community, and Sarah, you specifically about how to observe these things naturalistically. And that's one of the reasons training community members to do this themselves is so in line with what I believe in as far as professional development and cultural economy, that it's been a real joy. But yeah, I should write a paper about trying to get community projects launched because they're like really hard.
It's so hard and it's such deep work. Yeah, I really, really have a lot of respect for how you're approaching it.
Well, thank you. Hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be able to tell you that we've been able to launch drone delivery of medicine and rapid screening for exams and quicker desire to seek medical attention when it's really necessary. That's what I'm hoping to report out in 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Can I just add on? I mean, I think that what Martha has been doing in Malawi, working with the communities, has been really well done and fantastic. And I'm dropping a link in. There's an arc here to almost a 10-year project in Malawi where Virginia Tech faculty and students have been supporting the construction of a new library the size of Newman Library and Torgerson combined. I mean, this is a 6-story high facility. And some of the thing, I mean, looking at what everyone's presented here today, I mean, Martha and I have been talking about when this facility comes online, which could be a couple of years, how it could be a space where we can share sort of this type of work. And we're thinking, at least in our project, maybe using, if you scroll down the site, you'll see some of the earlier construction images. There's one, the library structure reaching completion post. If you look at that, there's a lot of space inside the library in certain places. And we were thinking of maybe sharing the end piece of this work in that space, even though it's not finished, as a way to sort of bring some life into the library. And also the ambition is to put a data center in the library, and then you think all of the data that Martha's collected could be curated at Mizuzu University in this data center, and they can become owners of their own information. And so there's sort of a long-term vision here, but it will take some time to realize that. But that's kind of how we're working together with sort of combining what we've been working on. And it's been a real pleasure to work with Martha on this.
I have a question for Satuni and Nipun, if I can. First of all, thank you for the presentation. Really fascinating project. I'd be curious to know, you had mentioned that one of the goals of the project, this review of the literature, was to sort of develop an understanding of the non-extractive models for LLMs. And I'm just curious, in what you've researched so far, what LLMs exist that are consistent with some of the indigenous protocols you had referenced, or if there aren't existent LLMs right now, what are some of the visions that people have spelled out for how those things could be structured consistent with those protocols?
So at least in my preliminary literature review, I could not find any LLMs that have taken indigenous communities into account, or at least, so all the LLMs, as you know, are basically private companies. So what processes they go through, they don't really disclose. So that's also a challenge that we face, because we don't really know what is the process of getting the data set for the LLMs. But some literatures have pointed out, I think as I shared in my presentation, that they go for fair practices, which is basically they'll just take the data that is easily readable for the machines, but not really care about the indigenous communities, or they don't really take into account that indigenous communities might hold ownership to that. So we'll have to look a bit more in depth for this, but it's mostly that the private companies don't really let us know what kind of process they go through to scrape all those data sets.
Thank you so much.
I have one more question for Tanner and Phyllis and the Seeds team. Will the installation be a permanent installation, or is it just going to be in for like a certain amount of time?
This will be a permanent installation, and beyond our immediate work, it could be an opportunity for others to present their immersive audio at this venue.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not sure this group will ever be back together like this, so ask your question now.
My only thing would be if there's anyone out there who likes storytelling, I am definitely looking for a little help in how to visualize this inside the cube. We have engaged some people on campus, but I'm open to future partners. It's a long-term project for me. So if there's anybody out there who loves music, or specifically for this one, the healthcare communications is a long-term thing. And so I'm taking advice right now to get through the next creative part. So that was my last question.
Martha, I'd love to
Thanks,
chat with you
Martha.
about that more offline. I'm certainly intrigued, and we have some potential incoming students in the MFA program in applied theater whose previous work is consistent with the kind of project that you've been interfacing with in Malawi. So let's talk.
Perfect. Yes, theater, cinema, creative technologies, all of it. Like, please, please, please.
Martha, I'd be happy to talk to you about how this could be in the queue.
Yeah, we should
What that might
set a
mean.
meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'll follow up with you too as well. Thank you so much. I have a lot of 360 data that I didn't even touch you. in this presentation. So there's like
Yeah,
I got a lot.
that's
Just
great. Love
waiting.
to see it.
Okay. Thank you guys all again for spending an hour with us and showing us what you're working on. We really appreciate it. As you finish up your projects, or maybe not finish up your projects, as you finish up the academic year, if you have additional assets or things you would like to put on your project page on our website, send those to me. We're happy to get those put up there for you and keep that updated real time so that you can point people to that project page to show what you're working on as well. So that page is meant for you guys to use as much as for us to use. All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe and warm this afternoon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Melissa.
You're welcome.